1:11.3 this morning and put in P4 in FP2, so Luca Lanetta has still got a little bit of time to find in terms of what he was able to do, but it's hot out there and everything just slows down a little bit when things come up to an extreme heat. As we were saying, the track temperature's up towards 60 degrees, almost air temperature's well above 30 degrees. It's hot, it's humid, these bikes are hot and humid anyway. The riders, they don't function well over a long period of time when it's super hot, and you put all those factors together, and yeah, it's not a surprise to maybe need a little bit more time to get down to something that they were able to do in a cooler, but not much cooler, morning conditions.
Flying solo then for the Tech 3 squad is Jacob Ralston. Of course, Valentin Peroni, if you're just joining us, taking no further part in the weekend. Guido Pini getting a bit impatient there. He's up behind the debutant Zen Mitani on the number 2. Mitani, of course, a proud student of the Asia Talent Cup, making his Grand Prix debut this weekend, and we're sure to see plenty of him over the coming years in Moto3. Plenty of Pini right now as he goes on the inside into turn 16. Pini has been bumped out of the top 4 at the moment, but expect the lap time to continue to drop as we go through this session. Pini's going to, at the very least, need to be in the 38, which he is now in. 38.447 moves him up ahead of Ricky Rossi.
Yes, 38.441. I don't know if that's going to be good enough, though. I still think there's quite a bit of time left out there at this track. I mean, Guido Pini is a little bit short on laps. I mean, he did make up for it yesterday in practice, but FP1 he was a little bit short. This is Morelli and O'Shea. O'Shea at the moment is ahead of Morelli on the time in tower. See how long that one lasts, given what happened last time out in Japan.
O'Shea, though, at least returning to a venue where he does have some Grand Prix experience, albeit a bittersweet experience. Made his Moto3 debut here last season, but he crashed at turn 2 in qualifying 1, which brought an end to his weekend, hoping to at least clear that hurdle here this weekend. And he's only a tenth of a second away from Pini and a place in the top 4 at the moment. O'Shea, of course, narrowly missing out yesterday. Here is Mitani, on product of the Asia Talent Cup. The voice of the Asia Talent Cup is to my right. Mitani certainly meriting his place on the Grand Prix grid.
100%, and I think the way that the Asia Talent Cup is going this year, we're going to have a couple more very fast Japanese coming through, the likes of Ryoto Ogiwara, Seiyu Ikigami, but that'll be in a couple of years' time. Zen Mitani will be well established in Moto3 by then if everything that we're hearing is going to come to fruition.
So many riders from that part of the world are beginning to emerge. Beda Pratama and Hakim Danish, both expected to be on this grid next season. Both have really made a name for themselves in the Red Bull Rookies MotoGP Cup of this season, which of course has already come to a close. Both finishing inside the top 3 of that particular series, which earns them a place to sidestep the age limit and make their way onto the Grand Prix grid next season, no matter how young or old they are. Lanetta over the line then to a 38.1 now. Jumps up ahead of Ralston, Mugli and Pini. Ricky Rossi unable to do better than a 38.7 at the moment in this session for Rossi. This is the 10th Q1 appearance of the season. Only one of the previous 9 has he now managed to navigate his way through.
Yeah, Riccardo Rossi, I think a lot more was expected of him than what has actually been the case in terms of what's come. Rossi there in 6th place at the moment, but he's really just not gelling at all with that bike at most places, unfortunately. He's had some flashes. He seems to be the quickest out the blocks on a Friday. That's where he's stronger during his own weekend. But then that pace just doesn't really follow through the rest of the weekend, and that's been a problem that Ricky Rossi's had to face this year.
He spoke so much in the build-up to the weekend about how much he loves this circuit, but at the moment the circuit doesn't appear to love him back at the moment in this weekend. 6th as it stands for Rossi, which would leave him 20th on the grid. He currently splits the M-Lab Hondas with O'Shea ahead of Morelli.
I wonder if he loves the circuit or the destination.
Yeah, a bit of both, I suspect. Well, I think he loves one much more than the other at the moment.
Safe bet.
Not particularly enjoying the Pertamina Mandalika venue. Did actually see him in nearby Kuta on Wednesday, when myself and a lot of our broadcast colleagues went for a mid-afternoon game of paddle. Ricky Rossi sharing a smoothie with his very good friend Ethan Guevara, who of course will be seeing in Moto2 a little bit later on today.
Then Matani, where's this going to put him 9/10 off? It'll improve his time, but I don't think that's going to improve his pace, because then it's all about getting laps under your belt. I mean, if we have a situation tomorrow where there's a few thunderstorms rolling around, then, you know, laps of data and it's all important. Zen Matani is actually one of the riders who had a big crash yesterday over at turn 7. I do wonder that if maybe he's just trying to take this one easy and see this weekend out, but still respectable ahead of Cormac Buchanan, who's had top 10s this year. Noah Detweiler is still in his quest for points, and Arvi Aditama likewise not a full-time rider, but then Matani's coming straight in and not be too shabby. Fair enough.
So let's see how our timekeeping is in this Moto3 session. There are under 3 minutes to go, so these riders who just come up pit lane, the likes of Lunetta, Rossi, O'Shea and Ralston, 2 of those are in Q2 at the moment. They've got around about 45 seconds, I suspect, before they need to get back out. Lunetta sat firmly in his chair in the 6:58 box. I have to say, he'd be a brave boy if he thinks he's done enough from there.
38.1, it's on the verge, isn't it, really? But then, again, the track temperatures are all up, so is there much more time left in this track in Q1? We don't know, that's the thing. Ricardo Rossi's definitely going to go back out, but the clock is ticking. 1 minute 38, so say 1 minute 40 on a quick lap, so then you need 1 minute 50 to do an out lap, maybe 1:45, 1:50. You want to be heading out now.
Yeah, the finish line here, as mentioned, is closer to the final corner here at the first corner, so by leaving pit lane you do have a little bit of time in hand, but you need to be leaving the pit lane right now, boys. You need to be getting out there onto the racetrack. Out goes Ricardo Rossi, and of course if you're just waiting for someone else to go out and help you and tow you around, then you're putting yourself in some trouble. 1 minute 44 to go as they now approach turn 1, so you're going to have to push hard on this out lap.
I don't understand Guido Pini's strategy at all. He was further down pit lane than most of them. He is going to be very, very tight to get around here, and Guido Pini is the rider at risk in P4. I'm absolutely flabbergasted at that one. I would have thought he would have been rolling down pit lane a long time before he was. That could be a disaster for Guido Pini. Yes, the finish line is a lot further up, but with 1:35, he left the pits. That's going to be tight. He's going to need to push.
So Lunetta and Ralston heading out. Thanks for Elliot for the info down in pit lane. They're not going to get round though for another time lap. So
Very right.
second, they clearly feel confident enough that they've done enough. Let's see if history proves them right.
Yeah, pride often comes before a fall, and I don't think we're going to see a literal fall. I think we might see a bit of a toppling though. If one of these guys can dial themselves in. Moodley's in touch here. He might have been great through that second section. We're picking him up through the third sector now. He's under. So Ruche Moodley, this would be an absolute shock. He's only been through to Q2 once since coming back from injury, I make that. So Ruche Moodley, this could be pretty special. He's going to have to get through Noah Detweiler though, and Noah Detweiler unfortunately is on his own lap, but it's nowhere near the pace of Ruche Moodley. He's caught him right in the wrong point of the track there.
Bizarro where Moodley made it through to Q2, came through qualifying 1. Is he going to do the same here? He'll get one more lap after this, so potentially he'll get towed down the main straight by Detweiler. Didn't hold it up too much in the end, did it? As he goes fastest on a 1:38, 1:08. So that relegates Lunetta and Ralston down to second and third now.
It does indeed, and Pini, I'll tell you what, Pini's got about just under 2 tenths to make up on Jacob Ralston. They're not going to get round. Again, just awful timekeeping there from down in pit lane. I just don't understand. So Pini's lost any opportunity he had here to improve his time. And Eddie O'Shea, I think, he's already gone through, and he's going to be on a fast lap. Very, very brave stuff from Guido Pini. I'm not sure this is going to work out.
Fortunately for him at the moment, there are only grey sectors on our timing screens. He'll be hoping that that remains the case. Here is the pair of Dempsey Bowe KTMs, Buchanan at the front of this trio. At the back of it is his teammate Ruche Moodley, who's still behind Noah Detweiler, so don't expect Moodley to be making much progress on this lap. Detweiler pushing for all he's worth for a personal best. He and Buchanan at the moment 8th and 9th.
Buchanan, yeah, I was just about to say, I thought Buchanan went on the green there coming through turn 9, so his lap's cancelled. That's him 9th at best. Well, he'll be 9th because the 2 behind him, Matani and Arvi Aditama, have already taken a checkered flag. Noah Detweiler 8 tenths off. This is not going to really do a lot for him. It might improve his time. It's not going to improve his place. So I think just by the skin of his teeth, Guido Pini has got away with that one. Unlucky again from Eddie O'Shea. He's been right there in the last couple of Q1s he's found himself in. And yeah, just over a 10th and a quarter off. He won't be happy with it, but he's ahead of his teammate this time around.
Whether it was confidence or whether it was accidental, they have done enough that top 4, even if 2 of them didn't get round for another lap. Well, 3 of them, of course, with Pini, who went out further ahead, but still didn't get round to the checkered flag. Every rider has now completed a lap, with the exception of Eddie O'Shea, who is not on a personal best. As his compatriot Scott Ogden watches on, he will not be joined by his fellow Brit, nor will he be joined by his teammate Noah Detweiler. It's Ruche Moodley, though, who tops qualifying 1. A welcome confidence boost for the South African.
Yeah, very much so. And 38.1 versus Adrian Fernandez's all-time lap record this morning. That's within a second. So not bad stuff at all from Ruche Moody. A 38.1 yesterday. Well, that wouldn't have been too shabby at all. 38.1 would have seen him nearly through yesterday, I think. Oh no, I'm looking at this morning. There he was. Don't give me one moment, please hold the line. 38.1, yes, as you quite rightly say, would have been top 10 ahead of Alvaro Carpe. Moody yesterday did a 39.3, so he spent 1.2 seconds. He's got another session to go yet as well. Let's see if he can gain the 37s.
Really good progress through the weekend. He said he lost a lot of confidence while the rain was falling in the Moto3 race. Last weekend did Moodley, of course, understandably not so keen to take the ultimate risks in those conditions, but certainly demonstrated his talent this afternoon, as did Guido Pini, who played it rather cool or got his timing wrong. Whatever the whys and what fors, Pini is through to Q2.
Yeah, is he sweating for the weather, or is he sweating because that was a close one? We don't know, but he's through nonetheless. Someone's got to be fourth all the time, of course, but Guido Pini, to not give yourself the chance, that is going to come and bite you on the bottom sooner or later.
Javier Adama 11th in that session, so of course with only 25 set to start tomorrow, with Valentin Peroni, if you're just joining us, declared unfit for the rest of the weekend. Adama will start at the back of the group, but what an experience it will be for him. Of course, hasn't raced here before at the Indonesian Grand Prix. Made his team debut here a couple of years ago when he finished just outside the points and actually qualified up in 15th place. So Adama flying the flag for Indonesia in tomorrow's 20-lap Moto3 Grand Prix of Indonesia. Qualifying one completed then, and it is Ruche Moodley who moves through to Q2. KTM Honda, KTM inside your top four. Moodley, Lanetta, Ralston, Pini, Eddie O'Shea, much like he was a week ago, frustratingly for him, fifth, with four advancing to Q2. Ricky Rossi sixth, ahead of Marco Morelli. Noah Detweiler just edging ahead of Cormac Buchanan at the end of the session. Zeb Mitani 10th from Javier Adama, and of course, as mentioned, Valentin Peroni taking no part. So the 21, topping Q1, Ruche Moodley through to Q2. Luca Lanetta, Jacob Wilson and Guido Pini join him. The battle for pole position on this potentially championship deciding Moto3 weekend comes next. Afternoon everybody, welcome back to Lombok Island, the Pertamina Mandalika circuit, host of the Indonesian Grand Prix. Looking over the twisty final sector, and just off into the distance you can see some of the beautiful coastline that surrounds this circuit. One of the most picturesque and spectacular venues on the calendar, but it has also proven so far this weekend, across all Grand Prix classes, one of the most challenging, not just because of the relative challenges of the 17 corners, but the intense heat really does push the riders' skills and their physical reserves to the limit. But looking to prove the hottest of the lot on a time attack in Q2 are the following 18 riders. Anko Pekeras on a weekend where he's hoping to keep the World Championship alive for at least another fortnight. The 36 quickest yesterday ahead of Max Quiles and champion-elect Jose Antonio Rueda. Adrian Fernandez on the 31 was 4. He is the new all-time lap record holder after the events of this morning. Darren Munoz, the Motegi winner, 5th from Joel Kelso and Matteo Bertelli. Fine job from the Italian, second race back on the MTA KTM to take 7th. David Almanza for Leopard, 8th ahead of Alvaro Carpe and Tayo Furusato, looking to get even after the events of a week ago. Top 4 who advanced from qualifying 1, also booking their place in the battle for pole position. Ruche Moodley, Luca Lanetta, Jacob Ralston and Guido Pini. looking to navigate their way through the choppy waters of qualifying and potentially to the World Championship this weekend are Red Bull KTM Ayo and Jose Antonio Rueda. We remind you, in the Extended World Championship lead by a further 7 points tomorrow, Rueda will leave Indonesia as the Moto3 World Champion. That means a victory this weekend with Angel Piqueras finishing anything other than second place. Rueda is the world champion. Max Quiles can also keep the championship alive, but we won't bore you with the relative scenarios of how that can happen. We will be here until the race gets underway tomorrow. Lewis Sotheby and Kiko Giles set to talk you through this Moto3 qualifying session. A very difficult qualifying session to call, Kiko, after the events of yesterday in practice, where just over a tenth of a second covered the top four. Jose Antonio Rueda, understandably, if his mind is elsewhere, with a championship potentially to win this weekend, he certainly will be in this battle for pole position.
Jose Antonio Rueda has got to keep a cool head in this situation. There you go, the graphic on your screen will be crowned world champion if he finishes the GP with an advantage of 100 points or more. Basically, he has got to finish ahead of Angel Piqueras, and it depends really where Angel Piqueras does finish. If Piqueras finishes ahead, then it moves on to Phillip Island and Australia, and we'll get more into that, of course, if that does happen. But I think for Rueda, he's going through the motions. You'll have seen what Marc Marquez was able to do last weekend at Motegi. It's not about topping every session, not about grabbing pole, it's not about winning by 10 seconds. Get through it cleanly, and on Sunday, visor comes down, it's game on for the title race.
And Angel Piqueras, of course, has his role to play, 93 points behind, as you can now see on screens, but I'm not sure how much Angel Piqueras' mind is actually on the World Championship. He will know by this stage that it is the longest of long shots, but he wants to get back to doing some winning and, of course, safeguard that second in the World Championship, which is coming under some serious threat now.
Speaking with him, he's got nothing to lose. I mean, he's not the one where if it all goes wrong, he's going to have questions asked, what happened? If he does come up and get this title fight moving on to Australia, then from there onwards to Malaysia, then as long as he's in the title race, he can still be piling on the pressure. There's other riders who have their own personal gains. Max Quiles, yes, he's mathematically in it, realistically not. David Munoz is not in it at all, really. He's very much in contention for victories. He could easily go and win the next 5 GPs. Look at what he did in Japan. He's already been a winner at various points this season. Munoz and Quiles are not, how do I put this, polite riders on track.
Some not shy, are they?
Yeah, they're definitely not backwards in coming forwards. Munoz is either inside, outside, or over the top, and Max Quiles just wants to win, and that's what makes 2026 so exciting when Rueda and Piqueras clear off. But in the present, those guys are not going to be thinking about the World Championship, whether it's the unwritten rule to do so or not. They are riding for their own gains, and that's how it should be as well.
The rather unpredictable scenario of the Japanese Grand Prix last weekend felt like it was made for Munoz, didn't it? When the rain was falling midway through the Grand Prix, just prepared to take risks that others weren't. Even Valentin Peroni, who we remind you is absent through injury for the rest of the weekend, he said Munoz was crazy in that midway point of the Grand Prix, and unlike the previous Grand Prix, I think Valentin Peroni was actually being complimentary there.
Yeah, I think so, because the previous Grand Prix, it's always him, was what he said. Not in that accent, I'll just be clear on that, but Valentin Peroni was not impressed with David Munoz last time out. Last time as in 2 rounds ago, but last time out in Japan, he was slightly more complimentary, only slightly.
On board then with Angel Piqueras, your fastest rider from yesterday. We remind you, fastest rider of the weekend so far is now Adrian Fernandez on board the Leopard Honda, 1:37.216 for Fernandez at a circuit where he did, of course, lead 8 laps yesterday on the way to his equal career best second place. So Fernandez does have form, not just at this circuit, but in recent times. 5 top 6 finishes in the last 6 now for him.
And he saw it qualifying out as well. He's on a personal best streak of qualifying run as well. So Adrian Fernandez, he might only be on the second row of the grid more often than not. And it's the second row of the grid. Before it was the third, the fourth, maybe even further down for Fernandez. So he's definitely worked out qualifying. I hope we don't just curse him there as all waxing lyrical about it, but he has been fast this weekend as well. Fernandez could easily be in his pole battle.
18 riders battling it out for pole position. They're all at the moment following the World Championship leader, Jose Antonio Rueda. Isn't that just a microcosm for the 2025 season altogether? Rueda will just be wanting to do his own thing here this weekend. Won't be bothered about what anyone else is up to. Of course, everyone else wants to follow Rueda. Rueda just wants to get himself to the checker flag. If he doesn't win it this weekend, he'll win it in Australia. If it isn't Australia, it's Malaysia. He doesn't have to win it here.
He doesn't have to win it here. He'll want to get it done though. The longer that title race is still on, the more things, the more variables, the more sessions where something can go wrong. Jose Antonio Rueda has been very, very strong right the way through this 2025 season. He's had his bad luck back at the Sale, he's had his own mistake back at Aragon, but besides that, it's been pretty pitch perfect. Just on this session, Lewis, we're talking about Jose Antonio Rueda and Piqueras, but some other names to watch out for. We know have had one lap pace before. Joel Kelso is one of them, but you've also got to look at the likes of Max Quiles. David Almanza has been up at the top various sessions throughout 2025 as well, and you know, you never know. Maybe a Guido Pini can swing a surprise. I would be shocked if David Munoz is on the front row, purely because his 3 Grand Prix victories have all come from off of it.
Well, precisely half of the riders, as they take a variety of lines there, not all the fastest ones, through turn 10. Half of the riders in this Q2 session have had a pole position this season. 10 different pole sitters overall. Valentin Peroni aside, they're all in this Q2 session.
Yeah, and you've got to say that if Valentin Peroni didn't crash yesterday, he'd probably be up there as well, because he's had pace in recent rounds. Good to see a welcome return to Q2 directly for Alvaro Carpe as well. Takes the pressure off himself, having to come through Q1. So Carpe's a bit of a fly in the ointment as well.
As we approach the final corner then, lap times that we should be expecting lap times in the 37s. We were doing low 38s in qualifying 1. As we see the trio of Red Bull KTM painted bikes, it's now Carpe leading Rueda, so it stands to reason that Rueda won't be setting a pole lap on this particular run. He was leading this train when the lap began. Carpe though down into the low 38s immediately as he takes provisional pole position. Fernandez though immediately straight down into the 37s, half a second clear of the field.
Yeah, 4/10 off what he was able to do this morning, but Fernandez, like I said, has got serious pace. He's got his teammate Almanza for a reference here. He's already up through turns 1. They're going to be coming through turns 2, 3 and 4 very, very soon indeed. This complex that completes this opening sector, and then we drop down through all the one-line stuff. Guido Pini making moves. That's Cambu. Oh no, it was the 64 of David Munoz making moves on Jacob Rulston. That's because track position at this part of the circuit is so important. You've got them all jostling for position at the back of this pack too.
Remarkably, of those 9 riders in this session that I mentioned that have had a pole this year, Adrian Fernandez is not among them. Just one previous pole for him. That came at Sepang late last year. He's continuing to pick up time, and his own all-time lap record could be coming near some serious threat here.
Yeah, it really could, and we're not even complete 10 minutes of this session yet. Wow, that was tight through turn 11. Ryusei Yamanaka was getting his nose right. Piqueras was offline through 11. It's 2x2 in the arc here as they come through towards turn 13. Fernandez gets ahead of Piqueras, Almanza ahead of Yamanaka. So the Leopard Racing Hondas moving on past the Frinza MT Helmets MSI KTMs.
And it's held up Almanza there, because he was up at the halfway stage. Quiles is getting aggressive as many riders jump out of the way, potentially to head up pit lane. Quiles just about gets his eye on the job and potentially heading to the front row here.
Out of the way to pit lane, or just out of the way because they're scared. That was 3 in 1 from Quiles. Unbelievable. He's almost on the inside curve. Comes across the line. 37.3. That is pretty strong. It's only about a tenth off what Fernandez was able to do this morning.
Tiny pull back in that final sector. He looked like he was going to go second. Then he was a quarter of a second clear in the end. So it's Quiles on a 37.3. Fernandez now 37.4. As he's continued to improve, went faster on his second lap. So it's a double front row at the moment for Leopard Honda. Fernandez and Almanza, and 3 Hondas at the moment up inside the top 4, with Q1 Graduate Linetta up in 4.
I was just about to say the form book's been turned on its head. I tell you what, Jose Antonio Rueda down in 17th place. He is going to be not concerned at the moment, but it's not the first run that he'll have dreamt of when he went out on track. But he's in touch through the first sector, through the fast stuff at 7, 8 and 9. We're going to take him through the second sector just on the exit of this corner now, and down towards the hard braking area of turn 10. Is he up any more? Yes, he is. 36 thousandths under.
Another rider that's never particularly bothered by looking for slipstreams. He just does his own job. Because Jose Antonio Rueda is not the only rider though up. So is Joel Kelso just up the road. We're trying to pick Kelso out. He's just in the back of that train. Next rider up the road from Rueda. Kelso on the 66, who of course has had a pole position in the past, but not this season. Buriram last year, the last time we've seen Kelso at the front of the grid.
Kelso's been a bit of a qualifying hound. He's had plenty of front rows this year. His teammate Matteo Bertelli started very well as well back at the start of the season. Don't forget, so Level Up MTA, Alessandro Tanucci's team have got plenty of reasons to think they're in the pole battle this afternoon, because they're pretty good in qualifying trim, and Kelso bails out. I can't believe it.
Unless he had no more fuel to complete the lap. That's a strange one for Kelso. Maybe he made a mistake on picture that we hadn't seen in the fourth sector. Rueda, though, making no mistakes. Can he match Kilos through the final sector? No, he can't. Just to underline how strong the Aspar rider was through there. Rueda into fourth, and another rider making the most of his Q1 for Prix. Ralston up to fourth now.
Ralston was on the front row, don't forget, a couple of rounds ago, back at Misano, so he can put a lap together when he wants to, can Jacob. The number 12 here, we're following him through. This is turn 2, up through turn 3. Keep it left all the way through and then down the short and not very big hill, but Jacob Wilson very strong at the moment there in fourth. He's got a bit of time to make up, about just under 2 tenths to go until he's challenging for that front row.
Well, that's returns to the MSI box, currently in 7th. His teammate Yamanaka in 11th. Here's Max Kiles, who is on provisional pole at the moment. His teammate Dennis Foggia, 14th. Foggia, the first ever winner of a Grand Prix around this Pertamina Mandalika circuit, winner of the inaugural 2022 event that took place here.
Yeah, Foggia at least knows this track on a Moto3 bike. It's probably a little bit more knowledge than most of his rivals out there. But as we come through, as we have a look at Alvaro Carpe, the rookie at the moment, they're down in 9th place. This is Piqueras. Piqueras is down in the front of that 3rd row at the moment. They're in 7th, so a bit of work to do for Piqueras here.
Big surprise in this session at the moment is Munoz down in 16th place. He's not done anything beyond the 39.2, which is not a especially representative lap time at the moment. Only behind him at the moment are Bertelli and Pini. Pini, of course, came through qualifying 1, as we now return to the pits for the IO pair. And of course, Jacob Ralston, number 12, who's currently sitting in 4th place. Still, of course, looking to secure a place on the Moto3 grid for next season. More qualifying performances like this, and Jacob Ralston will be able to rest easy.
Yeah, not a problem there, and not a problem under control. Backing that one in, downs in towards turn 10. Jacob Ralston, well, does miss the apex a little bit, but we'll let him off. It was a little bit spectacular, at least. Just on Brit watch at the moment, Scott Ogden, where are you? Down in 13th place, head of the 5th row. So Scott Ogden, who was your pole sitter from back in Germany, he's well within reach of moving back in towards that top 10 and in towards that pole battle. Needs to pull something special out with just over 5 minutes to go.
Been a remarkable weekend for Ogden in Japan last time out. Of course, qualified right at the back of the grid. He can get himself up to 21st in the race. Haven't seen him qualify in the top 10 since that pole position at the Sachsenring pre-summer break.
David Munoz, another one, down in 16th place. We definitely wanted more. When I said I didn't expect him on the front row, I didn't mean he'd be on the 6th row. So David Munoz, definitely work to do there. 1.8 off, get the feeling that perhaps he didn't get a clean lap.
So back out we go, and as always, they hunt in packs, these Moto3 riders, all out on track, absolutely together. Furasato just in the back of the picture as they head out on these outlaps. Let's get a word from the boss of this man, the World Championship leader and potential champion this weekend, Jose Antonio Rueda. It's Nicky Ayo with Al.
Good afternoon, Nicky. How were the riders feeling after the opening run? Spoke to both of them, and the tactics at play here is Alvaro trying to help Jose.
I think it's very difficult for either of them to help each other at the moment. The whole kind of working with us also, like everyone else. Of course, let's see. I mean, it's very complicated when everyone just has one target. It has been Jose Antonio this weekend, so I just hope he keeps his head cool.
How's he feeling ahead of this weekend? Trying not to think about the championship is understandable, but also very difficult. The team, I assume, in the same position as well.
Well, of course, he's been quite calm, to be honest. We set a clear target as part of the season that he tried to finish the highest possible ever race. Try to keep it down to the stand.
What did he say after yesterday in qualifying today? Is he feeling confident? He looks sort of the same Jose Antonio that we've seen all season long.
I think he's quite difficult to take time along, and as we've seen, so of course that makes everything a little bit more complicated for him, but still he's trying to push every lap and, you know, just prepare for tomorrow.
Thanks, Nicky. Good luck for the rest of qualifying and tomorrow as well.
Cheers, Al. Cheers, Nicky. We're coming down towards turn 15 and turn 16 now for the start of what is this final run in the battle for pole position. We're looking at Alvaro Carpe, everyone looking over their shoulders coming out of turn 16 and in towards 17. You want to be looking forward here and trying to get on with it. Jose Antonio Rueda looking to see if he can grab that pole to give himself the perfect opportunity to take the title out here in Indonesia. Mandalika, of course, a place that he knows on a Moto3 machine. It's not one of his favourite tracks though, yet to have a podium here, of course, in recent years. He's leading the pack. He's got Kelso, he's got Piqueras, he's got Foggia, he's got just about everybody trying to see what Jose Antonio Rueda can do. And as we take them through the first sector, Piqueras is under, Rueda is not. Rueda is not setting the pace. Piqueras, who is in 7th at the moment, looking like he could be a pole challenger with just under 3 minutes to go. Look how tight it is. Coming through turn 8 and 9. Tell you what, Piqueras goes a long way. They goes the smart way as well.
He threaded the needle there, didn't he, through turn 9. Munoz also very quick through the first sector as he's going around the outside there of Luca Lanetta as Joel Kelso jumps well and truly out of the way. Kelso currently in 8th place. He had set the fastest first sector. Fernandez, though, going very quickly. He's 3.5 tenths up through the first sector. We could be in the 36s very shortly with the Leopard on the map.
Yeah, I'll tell you what as well, Furasato's on a flyer as we get the graphic at the bottom of the screen, 3 tenths under, just under 3 tenths under now. So the Moto3 guys are going very, very well. Fernandez is more than 4 tenths under the time. As we get his teammates graphic along the bottom, we need to see Adrian Fernandez. But at the moment, right up in the front, Piqueras is going to improve his time here. He's coming through 16. If he keeps it clean through 17, he's going on to the front row.
Yeah, we're trying to pick out Fernandez in this train. He's up behind Furasato, just coming out of the final corner now. So Piqueras needs a low 37. It's not, it's a high 37. 4th is going to drop a lot from there. Munoz into the 37th. He goes 2nd behind Fernandez. It's not a 36, but it is another all-time lap record for Adrian Fernandez.
Fernandez is on form. I remind you, he's yet to win a Moto3 Grand Prix. And with that seat still not confirmed for next year, he's turning on the coals at the right pointy end of the season. So Adrian Fernandez with a 10th in hand over David Munoz, who's ghosted up to 2nd from 16th, and Carpe has found himself on the front row. Where is Jose Antonio Rueda? Middle of the 2nd row in 5th with just over 60 seconds to go.
He is ahead of Piqueras though, as mentioned. That lap really fell away for Piqueras. A 37.7 now has him 7 tenths adrift in 8th place, either side of Lanetta and Ralston, who currently sit next to him on that 3rd row of the grid. Almanza is not going to be improving on this final lap. He's taken the shortcut presumably at turn 8. That's generally where we see riders going off onto the racetrack. There he is in the back of the picture. Munoz also jumping out of the way to try and avoid a penalty. Is anyone though in any danger of threatening Fernandez?
Tell you what, these lot are all going to get another lap as well. Whether the tyres can do another lap remains to be seen, but for the likes of Almanza, who will not improve on this lap around, next lap is vital. Furasato just dropping off in that 3rd sector this time around, but he's on the 2nd row of the grid as it stands.
Kelso's putting a better lap together on this 2nd row, and as you can see, he's around a quarter of a second down. He can hold back to the line. He will go up onto row 2. He's currently back of row 4 in 12th place. Furasato trying to pick his way through all the traffic. He's got Yamanaka and Almanza just ahead of him. Foggia right behind. We pick up Kelso then on the 66, who needs this lap to get himself off row 4. Furasato then going to come across the line. Does he improve? The answer is yes. He goes up into 4th place. Kelso went all the way up into the front row ahead of Alvaro Carpe.
Very impressive stuff from Kelso. We've seen that so many times in 2025. He pulls a lap out in qualifying. His teammate has bailed out of it, so Matteo Vitali will be 16th at best. Checkered flag out, but everyone is on their last flying lap. It can still change.
And Rueda now on row 3. He's been bumped back to 7th place with those improvements for Kelso and Furasato. So in slightly uncharted territory for Jose Antonio Rueda. So often a strong qualifier. We haven't seen him as far back as that since Hungary.
He had a bit of a moment coming in towards turn 7 as well. Comes through turn 9. Did he go on the green? Don't think so. Rueda needs this lap more than anything. He can't be finding himself down at turn 7. It's not so much turn 1. Does find himself down in P7, I should say. Turn 1 on the opening lap is not so much of a problem. It's 2, 3 and 4. You don't want to be mired in the field. Jose Antonio Rueda looks like he's going to be 7th at best.
Well, it's going to take the second half of the lap of a world champion for Rueda to move up from there, because he needs to be within 3.5 tenths to get ahead of Quiles. He's now 6 tenths down at the 3rd checkpoint. Almanza looking to rescue his session, 12th at the moment. This could potentially lift him ahead of Rueda.
Yeah, it could. I was just about to say that could put him on the 3rd row if he can hold that advantage to the line. And coming through 15, this is Rueda. It's not gonna be. This is all over for Jose Antonio Rueda. He will be 7th on the grid if he can hold it and if everyone else drops around, there's not too many sectors being lit up. I can see Linares on one, but let's see what Rueda's got to the line. He's going to take 7th. Almanza knocks him back 1 place at least, so Almanza rescues himself from the back of the 4th row.
Dropped another one. Lonetta's taken 8th place on a 37.5, so Rueda now back to 9th. That's the bad news, Jose. The good news is that Angel Piqueras is still behind you. He's only 11th on the grid. He just went over the line for a 37.6, and they'll be in very high spirits when Kiko Giles joins Leopard for breakfast tomorrow morning. 10 different pole sitters so far this season. Make that 11 for Adrian Fernandez.
And I tell you what, like I said in that session, that seat is still up for grabs. Adrian Fernandez, it doesn't seem like it's going to be David Almanza anymore, but there's plenty of other riders looking for a ride. Adrian Fernandez just reminding himself that it's my 3rd season in this team. I can still turn it on when I want to.
Second career pole for Adrian Fernandez. The previous pole also came in Southeast Asia, over in Sepang last year. Pole number 2 for Adrian as he looks to secure himself a place on the Moto3 grid for next season. Munoz will start alongside him on the front row of the grid. Just the 4th front row of the season for Munoz. First time actually we've seen him on the front row of the grid since Brno, where of course he qualified 3rd and got sent back to the back of the grid. So the last time that Munoz actually started Moto3 Grand Prix from the front row of the grid, you have to go all the way back to Austin, but he took pole position back in April. So the 64 will start 2nd, and Joel Kelso keeping up his very impressive recent qualifying run. Front row number 3 in a row for the Aussie.
Tony Fernandez's 4th ever front row, his first since Malaysia's pole last year. It's his first front row of the season. We're at round 18. Adrian Fernandez has left it a bit late. His other 2 came from Portimao in 2021, and of course that massive 3-year wait was ended last year with another P3 on the grid in Phillip Island. But Adrian Fernandez finds himself on pole. You can at least smile about it.
What a day it's been for the Fernandez family, with Raul Fernandez already impressing in MotoGP. Adrian will start from pole position in Moto3. We'll hear from him on MotoGP.com. Later on, you can get the full word from your front row starters. It is Adrian Fernandez, though, on pole for the first time this season, the 11th different pole sitter in 2025. Munoz and Kelso on the front row, Carpe, Sabtu and Quiles on the 2nd row. Almanza and Lunetta both getting ahead of Rueda at the end, so the World Championship leader starts 9th. Guido Pridi 10th ahead of Angel Piqueras. Dennis Foggia, the 2022 winner, 12th ahead of Ralston via Q1. Yamanaka, Ogden, Patelli, Neffa and Moodley complete your 18 who took part in that Q2 session. Eddie O'Shea will start 19th ahead of Ricky Rossi, Marco Morelli, Noah Tekvila, Cormac Buchanan and Battani, and Arbi Aditama. Valentin Peroni, after his crash yesterday, will not start tomorrow. So Adrian Fernandez beating his own all-time lap record from earlier on today to take pole in Mandalika. Moto2 qualifying is on the way next. A very good afternoon to you and welcome back to Mandalika. We're within an hour and a half now of the Tissot sprint in MotoGP. We won't give away too much of what happened in qualifying earlier on, but it's a sprint that is well worth your time and attention later on. It's been a rather unpredictable weekend so far in MotoGP. Will that continue as we go sprinting over 13 laps? A little bit later today, within an hour and a half now of the sprint in MotoGP, perhaps unless you are all aware of what happened in qualifying earlier on. So expecting to start well later on. Time and attention later on. There's a little breeze which will be so far into Moto2. You are braving the elements right now, including our own vehicle. Down there, over 13 laps this way. Today, within an hour and a half now of the sprint is MotoGP. Degrees as we get set for a Moto2 qualifying session and a qualifying 1 session, which once again features one of our title chasers. This is your Q1 lineup then. Celestino Vietti, who was fastest in pre-practice 1 but crashed early in practice, which dumped him into Q1. Ethan Guevara, Adrian Huertas and Joe Roberts also will harbour hopes of making Q2. Alonso Lopez, second of the Speed RS Bosco is joining his teammate in this session. But once again, the glaring, obvious name on our screens is Aaron Canet, the 44 and World Championship chaser, goes through qualifying 1 for the 4th time in the last 5 Grand Prix weekends. Philip Salaci's had a miserable weekend this far for Elfmar Vinyes in 21st place. Alex Escridge, who went well this morning. Mario Anchi, the home favourite, of course, for Indonesia. Darren Binder, Seneragius, Jorge Navarro, who had a crash this morning. Yuki Kuni and Unai Aradre. Those are your Q1 participants hoping to book their place in the battle for pole position. Talking you through all of it will be Lewis Sotheby and Kiko Giles in the commentary box. Elliot York searching for some shade in pit lane. And once again, it's a Moto2 qualifying session. Qualifying 1 session with some serious big hitters. Celestino Vietti ought not to be in this session, only in this session really because he crashed in practice. He and title chasing Aaron Canet looking to navigate their way through this Q1 session, which from Canet's point of view you feel is all important if he's to stay in title contention.
Oh, he got away with one last time out as well. I suppose you can look at it like that, Canet, but this title race is slowly becoming a 2-horse race, isn't it, between Manuel Gonzalez and Diogo Moreira. I just don't think Aaron Canet has got anything left, really, perhaps. I think it's a case of maybe he's run out of steam or he's just got lost the feeling over the last 2 or 3 rounds, but whatever has happened, it's quite the opposite to the first part of the year when he was in fine form and right there, joint championship leader at one point.
Super consistent in the early part of the season, and of course, having spoken so much last weekend about Aaron Canet and his various struggles in Moto2, the general feeling was, well, if he's not strong in Mandalika, he's not going to be strong anywhere, because he dominated this Grand Prix last year, set a new lap record, took pole position, won the Grand Prix by a fortnight. Unfortunately, Canet has shown no signs of that kind of form so far this weekend, and with Manu Gonzalez on red-hot form so far this weekend, Canet might not be so lucky if he misses Q2 this time.
No, exactly. He will definitely need to fight through, but he needs to give himself a chance. He has got to come through Q1 this time. If he's not in Q2, then it is the final nail, isn't it, really? That's what we're talking about now, with 5 rounds to go.
Ethan Guevara in this Q1 session. Just in the foreground, you can see a former Moto2 winner in his own right. Now, of course, the boss of the Moto2 operation down there at Pramac, that's Alex De Angelis, just with his back to camera. Also, our next Grand Prix venue, Phillip Island, a venue where De Angelis won on 2 previous occasions in the Moto2 World Championship. Here's Alonso Lopez, second of the Speed RS Boscoscoros. Only 3 Boscoscoros actually automatically through to qualifying 2. Feels like a motorcycle that Alonso Lopez is going to be quite happy to see the back of when he moves across to Gresini next season, because in dry conditions at least it has not been a particularly successful season for Lopez.
No, he's down in Q1 again, and looks like a little bit lost yesterday. He was a couple of tenths away from Vietti as well, so unfortunately for Alonso Lopez.
2022, well, as we enjoy the luxury of an air-conditioned commentary box, we can head down to the sweat box and what is, I guess, a rather hot and bothered Elliot York for an update. Elliot, down to you.
Yeah, gents, certainly hot, not so bothered as things stand. I did try to bother, though. Bobby Locatelli from Fantic Racing, the team manager, and Luca Boscuro both saw me and politely shook their head and said, no, not today. Clearly tensions high, of course. Not the session that Canet would have wanted you. Gone through that, and of course the 2 Boscoscuros in the factory Boscoscuro setup, let's say Luca Boscoscuro's garage, also in Q1. So tensions high, conditions really tough. It started to cloud over a little bit as well. Humidity has definitely risen this afternoon as Canet heads out on his number 44. A huge test is coming up, but yes, unfortunately not getting interviews for you boys and the guys at home to hear from the boxes of the Boscoscuro, and more importantly, Aaron Canet, but I'll try my hardest to get someone else.
Yeah, try harder, El, and I can tell you that I know you can't see his face, but he's normally very bothered and definitely not very hot.
We'll certainly be getting a sweat on in pit lane at the moment, will our own El, and he'll be keeping a very close eye on this man, as we will. Aaron Canet on the number 44. Qualifying 1 has seen him on 4 previous occasions this season. course, we didn't see him navigate his way through this session 1 week ago. Just to underline the level that Canet has been in across his Moto2 career. That was his 104th Moto2 start last weekend. His worst ever qualifying in the intermediate class. The worst possible time to hit some poor form for Canet as the World Championship begins to slip through his fingers. 49 points is the deficit at this stage of the season, so he needs to gain 10 points around on Manu Gonzalez. At the moment, he's not even scoring 10 points around.
Yeah, that's the sad reality for it, and you get the feeling of, do you know what, if he can grind a result out this weekend, top 10, and something goes awry for Gonzalez, we're still on, but if that deficit now goes up towards 60 points, it's done with 4 to go.
He could be out of World Championship contention, of course, by the end of the next Grand Prix in Australia if results continue to trend in their current direction. Here's